said in one of his books, he wrote that our Adam is only for 7,000 years.
What?
Our Adam is only for 7,000 years.
But there is not only one Adam, there are so many Adams.
So when Qiyamah comes, does it mean that only people will die or this whole world will destroy?
Huh?
When Qiyamah comes, does it mean that only people will die, all the people will die, or this world will also destroy?
You know, there are sort of Qiyamahs which are coming and going and people don't take notice of them. The rise and fall of empires and the rise and fall of nations and religions, they all indicate their birth and Qiyamah. They come and go, they rise to great powers and occupy the central place of illumination in the history of the world, and then they gradually disappear and wane out. So these are the Qiyamahs for those people. And yet there would also be one universal Qiyamah when the whole of mankind would be wiped out.
Is that when the 7,000 years is over?
What?
Is that when the 7,000 years is over?
No. 7,000 years have nothing to do with that Qiyamah.
What does 7,000 years mean?
They mean that from the time when Adam was made prophet of Allah, until the time that Islam would become the final religion, this era would occupy 7,000 years.
After that, what will happen?
After that, first of all, what happened before that?
Yes, there were other...
You know that?
Yes.
So
the other sort of human beings.
Some sort of the same thing would happen afterwards.
So will there be different species of human beings, or our own species will be continue to live?
The fact is, I have already answered these questions so many times in these sessions. This is why I don't want to be drawn into this question at all at this time. Because if I once start, it will occupy most of my time tonight. But I refer you to the earlier tapes which you can find through the help of Mr. Akil Mia, who is sitting over there, here in front of me. So you meet him after the session and find out where I have already responded to these questions. So you just sit quietly and listen to an older cassette and you'll get the answer to the question, please. Right?
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, after, yes. Nadeem Malik had raised his hand before you did. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. If you'll allow me 2 questions, please.
Well, let's start with one first.
Okay.
We'll see.
I'm not very familiar with Shia traditions or theology or their history.
Yes.
And I've always been wondering how Shia Hadith traditions were collected, how long it took, and what standards of criteria they used.
Well, the most important difference I can tell you, otherwise it's a very long story of telling you how these hadiths were collected over many, many centuries. I can only tell you the fundamental differences between the style of collection of Shia traditions and the style of collection of Sunni traditions. As far as the Shias go, they consider it sufficient if a statement is reported back to some Imam. And if you somehow join the link between the one who tells you and one of the Imams of the Shiites, they consider it enough. They don't go further back to find out whether that Imam was truly linked to Hadhrat Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam or not. So there appear great gaps. If somebody has reported a tradition for Imam Baqir, for instance, and says that Imam Baqir told me this, that he, according to his authority, according to him, Hadhrat Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had said it. Now, although many centuries elapsed between Imam Baqir and Hazrat Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Yet the Shias would not raise a finger against it. They would say, our Imam has said, so it must be true. Now, they don't go into the possible question and exploration of the possibility that some false person, some person with less responsibility, less reliability, might have reported something to the Imam, and in good faith he might have accepted that something. And that could be wrong initially. But that is a common logic, that is a common sense. They don't believe in these things as far as the Imams go. Their concept of the Imams is that they are above making faults. They cannot make errors. So when an Imam says something, it has to be correct, and they don't give any allowance for human error. While we read in the Holy Quran that even the prophets are given the margin of human error. So that is the fundamental and the most important difference. The rest is about the same. And it is not true to say that because it is Shia Hadith, it is not reliable. Most of the Shia traditions are also reported through Sunni line of reports, and we find there we find some authentic links as well. So that shows that in many cases, in the majority cases, the Shia traditions are also reliable. Only they are not reliable when they contradict either fundamental principles of Islam, the Holy Quran I mean, or they contradict well-reported and well-preserved traditions according by Sunni Aimma. In that case, of course, they should be accepted with a pinch of salt.
Hadhrat Masih Maud al-Islam was stated that Arabic is the mother of all languages.
All languages, yes.
I wonder how, is this true in the absolute sense, in that all languages, all the thousands of languages in the world are derived from Arabic, or does it relate only to the main religious languages of the world?
No, all the world languages. The fact is that this question has yet not been solved by the scholars of how languages initially came into being. Because life evolved, that is accepted, and this is an established fact. But we don't find any evolution of language in the animal kingdom. It suddenly appears in human beings. And this is the most perplexing question, how the language came into being in the first instance. What marked jump mankind took, and at what time, when suddenly a non-speaking animal became speaking, and he started expressing himself in terms of words and stresses and this and that. So some scholars believe that it grew very slowly, gradually, like someone saw water and he made a sound, inarticulate sound to begin with, but later on repeatedly he used the same sound, and gradually the languages came into being. But so many languages came into being for so short a time and developed into some huge complex things. The time factor throws shadows of doubt on this theory, because man as such is known to have lived only, the maximum you can give is 1 million years, and things do not evolve that fast automatically in a blind way. The development of languages is so fast and so wide and so diverse that it's impossible for it to have developed like they suggest. And they are not sure themselves how they came into being. According to Hadhrat Masih Maud al-Islam, language itself was revealed. And he based this on some verses of the Holy Quran. That Allamahul Bayan, Khalaqal Insan, Allamahul Bayan. These are the verses of Surah Rahman, in which Allah says that Allah not only created man, but He Himself taught him how to speak, how to express himself. And this bayan is not mentioned vis-a-vis the creation of other animals. So from this and some